The first one is Adam Wharton, the Crystal Palace midfielder. His market value is at 60 million euros. He didn't get an upgrade in the last market value update, but there's a lot kind of moving around him right now, Ben, as we approach the end of the season. And one of our users gave his thoughts in the forum. I'll just quickly read it out and let you know what he says. He says, he is, alongside Vitinha, the most creative, dynamic playmaker in Europe, plays consistently this season and should be the main target for many top-tier Premier League clubs. He has to go up further. He has continuously performed at this level, and he's playing for a mid-table team. Doesn't make it easier to have the kind of stats that he has. After the World Cup, who could be one of the three best number sixes in the world. Pence09, a huge fan of Adam Wharton on our website, but what's your thoughts on where Wharton is right now, Ben, in terms of his market value and I guess his future, whether or not that's at Crystal Palace?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and certainly one we considered in the last update. Myself, I'm a big fan of the player. I think he's gone a little bit overboard, Pence09, maybe with the three best number sixes in the world, but I think he has the potential to get there. So with Wharton, in the last update, he'd already got a big upgrade earlier in the season to go to 60 million euros. And in the last update, it was a little bit difficult with timing because Crystal Palace were in a pretty bad run of form. They'd been sort of sucked into a relegation battle, which they've now kind of got themselves out of again. And Wharton himself wasn't playing his best football. However, he does have a skill that not many players have in that ability to push passes through the lines and play forward and beat presses now, which is so important to teams. And he is likely to probably get a big move in the summer. However, this is an example of where sometimes Transfermarkt, we're sort of future planning around these updates. So we're not just thinking about the March update when we do it. We're thinking about the fact we have another update in June, and then we have another update after the World Cup as well. So in June, we'll have a better idea of the rumours and exactly what might happen with Adam Wharton this summer. You know, Man United and potentially Manchester City, with rumours Rodri might go, might both be looking for a number six in the summer, and you would suggest that Adam Wharton will be quite high on their list. So we'll probably know more about that. We'll know more about potential fees at that stage. So I would say Wharton is one who's probably likely to get an upgrade in June around that. And then obviously we'll know what happens at the World Cup after that. If he goes and starts games for England at the World Cup and has a good World Cup, that value's going to only go up higher because that's going to make him far more aware around the world of what he can do and increase his profile. So yeah, Wharton is definitely one that we will look at again in June and after the World Cup, and he's probably likely to get an upgrade, but March probably came a little bit too soon for him and coincided with his team's poor form and not the best form for himself.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense because, I mean, I'm on his the rumour page on his profile, and the clubs that have so far been linked with the move for him this season: Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Real Madrid were the most recent ones linked with him at the start of this week. Discussion about whether if they can't get Rodri at Manchester City, they might turn to Adam Wharton. So there's a lot of speculation, Ben, from a club point of view, but as you said, there's the whole discussion about what he could potentially do for England at this World Cup, but there's also no guarantee that he'll start at this World Cup, especially if Thomas Tuchel's cast of thousands seems to be anything to go by in terms of his recent England squad. So I guess we're kind of on the precipice of maybe Wharton kind of skyrocketing if he gets a big move, if he performs for England at the World Cup. But obviously at this moment in time, at the end of March or the start of April, it's just speculation at this moment in time, isn't it?
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of ifs. And I think in this England starting 11 going into the World Cup, that's one of the positions that's essentially up for grabs. We all know Declan Rice is going to start in midfield. It's probably likely to be Jude Bellingham beside him. But that I think Rice will probably play in that number 8 role. And then it's that more deep line midfielder that's going to play alongside him. We've already learned in the last year that Thomas Tuchel is a big fan of Elliot Anderson, and he has probably played the most in that position alongside Rice. So he's probably the favourite to start that position. But there is a lot of calls for Adam Wharton because I think he would benefit Rice in terms of their profiles. What Rice struggles with, Wharton excels in terms of passing forward between the lines. And I think it would give Rice that licence to drive on as well. So it is something that could potentially work. But as you say, it's a big if at the moment, and we'll know if that's an actual position that he's going to nail down in the summer, and that will affect his market value accordingly.